OMT Online Dynasty, we are back here for part 2 of Conference Championship Week. Last time, your Old Dominion Monarchs came out on top, knocking off James Madison and taking the crown of the American Conference. Now, all eyes turn west to the Mountain West, specifically SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California, Wyoming, D-backs fan 95, Utah State, Boulder. Two incredibly high-paced offenses ready to go toe-to-toe to determine the Mountain West. Now, unfortunately, D-backs fan Wyoming was not able to get this game played, so we decided let the CPU decide, leave it fair. Shout out to Boulder for that. So we don't have the head-to-head gameplay in here, but we do have some highlights and things of the CPU game. It was still a pretty fun game. But first, before we get to that, let's take a look at each team, see how they got to this part of the season, see how they got to the top of the mountain. Starting with the number 1 seed, Utah State, Boulder's Aggies. Started off a little slow here. Some CPU games, like I said in the last part, though, I'm pretty sure I mentioned. These games are on Heisman difficulty, so there are going to be some CPU losses. That's just going to kind of happen. Started off with a good win against UTEP, but then Aggie on Aggie violence. They drop one in College Station to Texas A&M. Bounce back against the FCS. Then the SEC just kind of had Utah State's number this year, which is fair. That's going to happen. Then we start hopping into some conference play here. A lot of user games from this point on, knocking off North Texas 28-14. Their one game they did play against Wyoming. I believe there was a desync. Something happened here. They ended up having to get a force win. I think it was one of those that like desynced in the third quarter and they had to play it out from there. But Utah State already with a victory over the Cowboys. Then they kept the winning ways going here against Tulsa, Nevada, San Diego State, UNLV, another force win there. But then they ran into the potential Mountain West buzzsaw for next season, Fresno State. Overall, certainly had a disappointing season, but with their new coach in town, seems to have fired that team up a little bit. Finished the season with a victory over the Colorado State Rams, pushing them to 6-1 in conference play. Then the Wyoming Cowboys, number 18 in the country, barely eked out their championship game berth here over UNLV, both finishing 5-2, both great seasons. UNLV runs the veer and shoot offense, which I think he is the only guy that actually does across the entire Dynasty. But Wyoming starting off CPU win there at Akron. Impressive wins here considering at Heisman, both on the road at Utah and at Colorado State, and just waxed both of them. Very, very impressive. Then we get into his user games, a non-conference against Texas State, ekes that one out by 6. This is the game that allowed Wyoming to be playing in this because they managed to beat the Rebels in Las Vegas 34-14, essentially is what punched their ticket in. We saw them lose to Utah State already. A couple force wins in here. A lot of desyncs are just such a problem. I don't know. I don't want to turn injuries all the way off, but that might be the only way to fully guarantee we're not going to have any desyncs. I don't know. I think we're going to drop the injuries down to like 10 for next season and just hope that helps. But they also ran into that same Fresno State buzzsaw that we saw. I think both games were around. Well, this was a force win, so we can't really say, but both games essentially were 45-14. And those Bulldogs are going to be a team to keep our eye on for next season. But still, overall, fantastically successful season for both Utah State and Wyoming. Congratulations to Boulder. Congratulations to D-backs fan. Let's take a look at these team stats. See if there's anything we can learn, anything we got to keep our eye on as we head into the CPU game. And again, we'll start with Utah State because they are first alphabetically. Quarterback Bryson Barnes. Nearly 500 pass attempts on the season, 67% completion, 4,300 yards, and 41 touchdowns. These teams, like I mentioned earlier on, they like to air the ball out. All of them do. Well, really the whole Mountain West. You got the one veer and shoot. You got quite a few air raids in there. People are going to be pushing that tempo, keeping your defense on your heels. But that's not even the star of the show of this Utah State offense. It is actually halfback Javin Javin. I say his first name like 8 different ways throughout the commentary on their game, so you're gonna have to bear with me a little bit there. Who I believe is currently second on the Heisman watch list for this season behind Cade Klubnik. 136 carries, 686 yards, 11 touchdowns, and that's not really where his damage really even comes from as much as it is receiving. He's got 70 catches, 645 yards, 8 touchdowns through the air. This guy is a stud if you're going against Utah State next season and this guy sticks around. Keep your eyes out for number 21 in the backfield of the Aggies. But you got to keep your eyes kind of everywhere going against a team like this. Spreads the ball out kind of all over the place. A lot of yards, a lot of catches. 65 for Corey Thompson Jr. for 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. Miles Davis, 71 for over 1,000, 9 touchdowns. That's a halfback. They put him out at the slot receiver. The guy is just a playmaker. Then you got Orr Gillespie here too, as another 60 catches, 830 yards, 54 catches for the tight end Brock Lane. Just a lot of receiving threats on this Utah State team. They like to spread the ball all over the place, but you're not going to have much of a chance if you can't contain that number 21. So that's Utah State's offense. Let's go take a look at Wyoming, where the Cowboys actually throw the ball more than Utah State does. Believe it or not, 526 attempts for Caden Anderson. That guy is going to need Tommy John surgery or something after this season. 4,158 yards, 38 touchdowns. This is what I was saying about that Mountain West Conference. They sling that rock around, keep your defense on their heels. You got to be on top of your game if you want to win this Mountain West Conference, and both of these guys were throughout the entire season. Rushing-wise, pretty spread out here between Kelman and Sam Scott. So what I like about Wyoming is how their backfield is set up. You have your east-west playmaker running back with a recoup Shifty and 360, and your big bruising halfback with Sam Scott. Still with Shifty though somehow. Head first, sidestep, downhill, and armbar. Unbelievable 1-2 combo between the two halfbacks here. And you do have to keep your eyes on Caden Anderson. He has ran 61 times this year, so he's not afraid to take off and run with that quarterback from time to time. But you really got to be paying attention to who is in that backfield. Kelman does look to be injured, so that'll make things a little bit easier for Utah State's defense, I suppose. Receiving wise, kind of very similar to what we saw to Utah State, spreading that ball all around the field. Eric Richardson leading the way, 71 catches, over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns for him, 58 for Chris Durr Jr. Tight end, this guy is a monster. John Michael, the cyborg, Gillenborg, balanced 50-50 sure hand, 6'5", 250. Let's see his stats: 83 speed, 79 strength, 86 excel. This guy is a monster. Thankfully, he's a senior, so we don't have to worry about him as much next season. But behind him, even here, Jalen Sargent, 6'2", 60 catches, 711 yards. Very similar to what we saw with Utah State. There's no go-to guy on either offense. You kind of just have to guard everything. You can't really key in on one person and hope to slow either one of these teams down. So that is how each team got here. That's how they've been able to put points up on the board throughout the season. Let's just get to the CPU game, see who is going to walk away as the Mountain West champion. And here we are, the battle for the Mountain West, coming down to a CPU sim. It's unfortunate, but I think I said in the intro, you know, we understand things happen. This is an old man dynasty, an old man league. Things come, things go. Things come up. You're not going to be able to play every single game. It's a shame that happened in the Mountain West, the conference championship, but we know Wyoming is going to play their heart out for their coach. They're going to miss him dearly. There's the beautiful trophy these two teams are battling for. Utah State getting led out onto the field. Man doing the robot. Lady missing half her hair. The Aggies are ready. They brought the best of their fan base here to beautiful Inglewood, California. SoFi Stadium is where this contest will be taking place. Let's get a quick glimpse. There they are, the Wyoming Cowboys, led by quarterback, what's his name, Caden Anderson. There it is. I knew I had it written down somewhere. Utah State, Wyoming, two very, very high-powered, fast-paced offenses. I believe they both throw the ball around 85% of the time, average 500-ish yards per game. We're expecting points. We're expecting pace. We're expecting both offenses to be at their best. Will one of the defenses be able to step up to the occasion and give their team the advantage in this one? Let's find out. Wyoming with the ball first here, 2nd and 1, their second play of the game. Nice little quick slant right over the middle. A couple little RPOs to get us started, getting Caden Anderson in a bit of a rhythm here for the Cowboys offense. Now spread them out, going 5 wide, little up-tempo, little hurry up, keep that defense on their heels. Utah State rushes 5, nearly gets the interception, but instead, that is Jalen Sargent going all the way down the left sideline, wrangled out at the 2-yard line. The Cowboys threw a little lasso around him, dragged him out of bounds, forcing a 1st and goal at the 2. But what a start for Wyoming. Now they're keeping that pace up. We can see them hurrying up to the offensive line. Even in a goal line set, the pace is relentless for Wyoming. The handoff, how did Sam Scott not punch that one in for a touchdown? Your guess is as good as mine. Certainly looked like he was going to be walking his way in there, but he comes up short. Caden Anderson back under center from a shotgun set, running a little option play. That looked kind of goofy. He pitches it to Sam Scott, gets stopped for a gain of 0. 3rd and goal, keeping the pace going though, Wyoming. 3rd and goal now, back in a shotgun set. Sam Scott lined up to the right. Little motion from Eric Richardson. The jet pass. Richardson takes it himself. Utah State's defense almost pushes him, gives him a little helping hand into the end zone. Touchdown, Cowboys. Touchdown, Eric Richardson. 1 minute into this game, that fast-paced Wyoming offense living up to the hype. Let's see if Utah State can answer back. After a 4-yard gain on 1st down, quarterback Bryson Barnes pointing around, hot routing everybody around, taking control of this Utah State offense, and the right side of the line collapses. Both the left end and the D tackle for Wyoming get into the backfield, bring him down for the sack. 3rd and 13. Last thing you want to do here for Utah State, you got to give your defense a little bit of time to try to catch their breath with how quick Wyoming is moving the ball. The last thing you want to do here is go 3 and out. The pressure is on. Can Barnes keep this drive alive? Of course, got Heisman hopeful in the backfield there, number 21, Javen Jacobs. That's who he tries to go to, and he almost gets his man killed going to the left flat very late there. And there is that 3 and out for Utah State. Wyoming's offense already going to be coming back onto the field. Decent little punt there. Can Utah State's defense, hopefully in that short amount of time, were able to figure something out to slow down this Cowboy offensive attack? Caden Anderson, now he's pointing around. He's saying, hey, Bryson Barnes, you can do that. I'll point around too. All day in the backfields. Utah State only rushes 4, and that ball should have been intercepted. It was not. Unfortunate break there for Utah State. Again, looks to only be sending 3 after Cade. They are indeed all day to throw yet again. Takes his little curl route out to the left. I believe that was Jalen Sargent again out there. Getting a 3rd and 2. A huge play for the Utah State defense. Now showing sending 5, only sending 4, but number 97 comes off that edge, and Sam Scott not able to find an inch to breathe here. 3 and out for the Cowboys. Utah State, can they find a groove on offense? Can they get that Heisman candidate Javen Jacobs going here? Let's find out. Well, maybe not in this formation. They were coming out in a 5 wide. Bryson Barnes drops back all day to throw. What protection there by Utah State. He is able to find Thompson Jr. crossing over to the right side there. Big 1st down for Utah State. The first down of the game. Crosses the midfield here for the first time. Now here comes that tempo of Utah State trying to match the pace that Wyoming was setting. Looks like he finds Thompson Jr. yet again, this time to the left side. Thompson to the right. Thompson to the left. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Let's see. Bryson Barnes again directing traffic, moving them all around. Miles Davis, number 4 there, motioning over to the left slot. Now motioning back to the right, little fake jet, little fake pitch. Instead, over the middle, finds his big man, tight end, number 87. Lane takes it down, 1st and goal at the 4-yard line for the Aggies. Here is that answer back they're hoping for. Now get that Wyoming defense on their heels a little bit. You keep up the pace, you keep up the momentum, audible around all these different formations. Try to get your Heisman halfback going there a little bit. I'm not even going to try to say his first name again. We made a mess of that the first time. Instead, here we are. 2nd and goal at the 5-yard line. Moved backwards, 1 there. Jacobs going in motion to the right. Sure took his sweet time throwing that out to him on that swing. Looked like he potentially had some room. You got to think he's going to be faster than that Wyoming linebacker. Get it to him quick. Try to have him beat him to the corner. Wait way too long. Linebacker catches up. Another loss of 1. Backing up. 3rd down. Blitz coming. Untouched. Screamer right at Bryson Barnes. From 1st and goal at the 4 to 4th and goal at the 13. Every single play going backwards. Utah State going to have to settle for their field goal here. Aggies did force the 3 and out, got that ball back, and again, back to the tempo, gained 9 yards on that first play, right back to the no huddle, right back to the line of scrimmage. Let's see what Bryson Barnes has got cooked up for this Aggies offense. He finds Miles Davis. If peeing your pants is cool, call me Miles Davis. Takes that one all the way down to the 1-yard line. Going to set up a 1st and goal for Utah State to take the lead when we get to the 2nd quarter. Back to the action now. Utah State, even after the quarter, still hustling up to that line. 1st and goal, not even from the 1. Almost looks like from the 1-foot line. They will give it to Jacobs, the Heisman Trophy. Hopeful. Yeah, the stream cuts out. It happens a few times. But touchdown, Utah State. 3-point lead for the Aggies early in the 2nd. And after Utah State sack, it is 3rd and 13 for Wyoming. They are starting to lose momentum here very quickly. Sending 5, hurries the throw. It is tipped. It is intercepted by the Aggies. This defense, after getting rocked on that first drive, Wyoming looking a lot like the Chicago Bears. I mentioned this when the game was going on. That first drive, they look great. Scripted plays, bing, bang, boom, right down the field. Then what's going to happen? A turnover is what Utah State taking over deep in Wyoming territory. But now faced with a 3rd and 7 already wasted. I don't want to say wasted, but kind of wasted their first 2 plays. And there is Jacobs popping his first big run of the day, trying to make a last push for those Heisman voters. Say, hey, don't forget about me. It's not just about Cade Klubnik at Clemson, which it looks like he is going to actually win the Heisman Trophy, but maybe Jacobs can make a last-second push, but then he does things like that right there and loses 5 yards by running straight into the D tackle. It's a love-hate. It's you got to give, you got to get. Then they fake it back to him. Now, Bryson Barnes scanning the field, finds down by the right sideline. Miles Davis through, 4 Wyoming defenders, not only locates the ball, not only catches the ball, fights the defense off, pushes his way in for the touchdown. Utah State, just like that, flips the switch and got a 10-point lead on the Wyoming Cowboys. After already being sacked once on this drive, it is 3rd and 15 for Wyoming. The defense desperately needs a break. They need the offense to come up with something here. And instead, Caden Anderson just steps straight into the stunt from number 41, Neesmith there. Another sack, another 3 and out for Wyoming. It is getting late awful early here unless this Wyoming defense can figure something out for the Utah State offense. And it's not looking good. Utah State's got another drive going here down to the 26 of the Wyoming Cowboys. Wyoming in a low defense trying to slow down this Utah State offense, and it cannot be done. Jacobs takes it for another gain of 10. 7 rushes for 29 yards here as we near the 2-minute warning. Utah State keeping up the pace on offense. Trips up high, solo receiver down low, giving it back to Jacobs. Another gain of 6. He is just a battering ram at this point. He's bouncing off this Wyoming defense. They've got no answers for Jacobs in the backfield or for Bryson Barnes when he's slinging the ball. They were able to get that stop early. Ever since then, he has got all, well, I was just going to say he's got all day to throws. He had a free rusher coming right at his face, but he still swings out to the flat, gets a gain of 3, 3rd and 1 for Utah State, trying to push this to a 3-score lead before halftime. They go with the jet motion. They get it to Miles Davis down to the 1-yard line, similar to how we saw Wyoming score the jet motion to their slot receiver, Eric Richardson. Utah State answers the favor back on a big 3rd and 1, setting up a 1st and goal down at the 2, trying to push this to a 17-point lead with less than 2 minutes to go. Little screen pass. Jacobs just stat padding at this point, just rubbing it in to the poor Wyoming Cowboys. 24-7 lead. Minute 40 to go here before half. Wyoming, can they get a little 97-second drill here to put some pressure on Utah State, get a little momentum before the half? Anderson drops back, and they certainly cannot. First pass of the drive is intercepted by the Aggies. Wyoming crumbling. They miss their coach. Their heart's in a different place right now. Their heads are in all over the place right now, just thinking about coach. You got to think the focus is just on next season at this point. As we head to halftime, the good news is Utah State was held to a field goal there. Really not much happened after that turnover, thankfully for Wyoming. Bad news is they're down by 20, and Utah State is doing whatever they want on both sides of the ball. The offense has been phenomenal for the Aggies. Bryson Barnes has been carving them up. Jacobs on the ground. He's been throwing it to Miles Davis. We've seen Thompson Jr. with a few big catches. We even saw their tight end Lane come through a few times, whereas Wyoming has not been able to get anything going on the ground here so far. Sam Scott has been totally bottled up. Haven't really seen the quarterback be able to get much. We'll see. Maybe at halftime they FaceTimed coach, Skyped him in, did teams them. I don't know. Something to get some juice in these Cowboys. Or maybe not, as Utah State has a 3rd and 2 down at Wyoming's 22. Just little chunk 15, 20-yard plays. Got them all the way down the field. Barnes stepped back. Little spot route. Finds his man. That is Gillespie. For Utah State. Moving the sticks for a first down to the 14-yard line. I mean, you got to think a touchdown here is really game over. Even a field goal, Wyoming is not in a good spot. But a touchdown to make it a 27-point game in 5-minute quarters, well, it's going to be tough. Barnes is going to keep it his dang self, and he'll take it for a 1st and goal. Let's see, maybe they stat pad, try to give Jacobs one more touchdown on the board here, just to, just make him look as good as possible. Maybe he can still steal that trophy from Klubnik. Well, he needs a little help from his offensive line to be able to do that. He is brought down for a loss of 1. Second and goal for the Aggies at this point. A little split back formation. Miles Davis in the slot. Let's see what Barnes is going to do here. Little play action all day. Takes too long though. Steps up in the pocket. Gets sacked by that Wyoming defensive line. Drake again. I believe that is his second sack of the day. Trying to make something happen. Trying to breathe a little life into this Cowboys defense. Who knows? You get a stop here, especially a turnover here. Swing some momentum back. Crazier things have happened. Not many, but there's certainly been at least one. That much I can guarantee you. Third and goal, Utah State got a trips up to the right side. Solo receiver on the left. Jacobs in the backfield all day yet again. Just all day. It's absolutely all day for Barnes. He finds Thompson Jr. crossing over the middle. About 3 Wyoming defenders trailing him. Not a shot in the world at making that play. 34-7 Utah State. The teams just kind of were trading punts back and forth to each other here for a little bit, but fourth quarter, less than 4 minutes ago, still a 27-point game, still a 4-score game, 3rd and 12 for Wyoming, just trying to make this respectable at least, and what a laser by Caden Anderson right over the middle of the field to Eric Richardson. Yet again, he's the only one that has scored for Wyoming so far. First on that jet sweep, a minute into the game, and now with 3.5 to go here in the fourth quarter, Wyoming finally is back on the board. Who knows, like crazier things have happened, but it has to start with this onside kick. Line drive, guy dives to make a play, hits him right in the face, bounces off of him, and recovered by Wyoming. Crazier things have happened. Could we be witnessing the Wyoming miracle here for the Cowboys? Probably not, but it'd be pretty neat if we did. Going for the little screen there. 2nd and 6, only a gain of 4. Time tick, 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 tick. Almost down to 3 minutes. Still not even at midfield. Still down by 3 scores. Wyoming's got to get this ball moving. Finding their big boy tight end there, John Michael Gillenborg. Excuse me. It's a big chunky yardage. That kid is a stud for the Cowboys. Surprised we haven't really seen him too much in this game up until this point. Maybe Utah State must have been keyed in on him, knowing that is their main offensive weapon. We take him away, we got a shot to shut this whole offense down, and so far they seem to be proven right there. Again, just all day for Caden Anderson back there. Eventually just takes off and runs. We'll take his own 4 yards. Less than 3 minutes to go. Need to keep this pace up here, Wyoming. Need to keep the pressure on Utah State. Finds a little almost drag route. Did he hold on to that? No. 3rd and 6. Another injury for the Wyoming offensive line. Things just going from bad to worse. As if losing by 20 at this stage of the game isn't bad enough. Now you're dropping offensive linemen. I believe their second one of the day. Tough scenes. Now 3rd and 6 Wyoming. They will try to give it to Sam Scott again. Hey, at least he got 4 yards that time. That is a massive improvement from every other run we have seen from this Wyoming running back. Now back to 4 wide. He's had his Sam Scott. Doesn't look for him. Instead, finds John Michael Gillenborg. Again, the cyborg Gillenborg takes Wyoming down to the 3-yard line. 20-point game. 2 minutes to go. They've already recovered 1 onside kick. Could we be witnessing something miraculous here in Inglewood, California at SoFi Stadium tonight? No. No, we're not. They potentially had something going there. Could have, made it a 2-score game. Maybe get another onside kick. Just drill that guy in the face again. Unfortunately, Caden Anderson throws the game away with another interception. And Utah State, we can just go ahead to the end of the game because I'm pretty sure this is the final score. They do stat pad a little bit at the end. Don't score again. And Utah State is your inaugural winners of the Mountain West Conference. Congratulations to D-backs fan, our Wyoming coach, and Boder, our Utah State coach. There they are. Look at these boys go. A very successful first season for both of you. For everyone in the Mountain West, I want to say thank you to you guys for making it a very entertaining conference. Loved watching all the games. Loved everything about it. So thank you to everyone who partook for the Mountain West. We will see you guys next season.